You are welcome once again to EcoLearner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. And today, we want to move on to the concept of geometry. Once again, I remain Kamaldeen Abiona. And today, we are looking at circle. The last time we looked at lines and angles, we have done that before. So today, we'll be examining circle geometry. So let's see.
EcoLearner Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
All right, circle geometry, and we'll be able to define all parts of the circle. At the same time, we want to apply the double angle theorem and apply the chord property. Those are the things that I want to look at. Don't be afraid. Geometry is your friend. So let's try to explore it together. All right. So now, these are some of the parts of a circle. We have the center, we have the radius, we have diameter, circumference, chord, tangent, arc, sector. Our sector can be minor sector or major sector. The same thing, we have segment. So let's see how we can illustrate all these in a circle. All right, so this is the center. The center is the midpoint of what? Of a circle. We also have what we call the radius. The radius is the what? The line joining the center to any point on the circumference. And that is it. So this is a radius. Okay? We also have what we call diameter. Diameter is a special type of chord. I'm going to define chord later. But diameter is what is also another chord that also passes through the center of what? Of a circle. So we can say that is a line that is what? That is joining 2 points on the circumference and at the same time passing through the center of the circle. So that is what we mean by diameter. We also have the circumference. So this is the circumference. All right. We also have what we call the chord. I've explained chord earlier. Chord is what? Any line that is joining 2 points on the circumference together. You can see a line joining 2 points on the circumference. We also have what we call tangent. A tangent is just a straight line that is touching, you can see, it's touching the circumference. So that is what we mean by a tangent. We also have what we mean by an arc. So an arc is just what? A part of the circumference. I've defined the circumference earlier on. The circumference is just the total, what? The length around or the boundary of a circle. So any part, if it is not the whole of the circle, if you have just a part of it, that is what we mean by an arc. We also have what we call a sector. I said earlier we have a major sector and a minor sector. So when we say a sector means an area that is bounded by what? An arc and 2 radii. You remember we have discussed radius before. So when we have the region that is what? Bounded by what? An arc and what? 2 radii. We have what we call sector. And we also have what we call segment, which is an area bounded by a chord. A chord and what? And so a chord and an arc. So in that case, we have the smaller one. This is the smaller one. It's called the minor. And the major one is what? The bigger part. So, yes, we want to look at some facts before we go into the main theorem. So, fact about the isosceles triangle. Any triangle AOB with A and B on the circumference and O at the center of a circle is isosceles. Do you remember the meaning of isosceles triangle? Yes, isosceles triangles, they are triangles in which 2 sides are equal. And as a result, 2 angles are also what? Are equal. So let's see this. When you have something of this nature, you can see this is the radius based on our earlier definition, and this is the chord. So in this case, because this is radius, they are equal. and as a result, we produce what? A triangle, which is isosceles. So that's one of the facts that we need to know, because the two angles must be equal. All right, and at the same time, this will be what? 180 minus 2a, based on the concept we have learned under lines and angles before. Sum of angles in a triangle give us what? 180 degree. So we also have another fact here, which is chord. Do you remember the definition of a chord? A chord is what? Is a line joining two points on the circumference together. So this is a chord. And in this case, if a radius bisects a chord, this is a radius, bisect a chord. So a chord which is not a diameter. A chord, a diameter is a special chord, but this is not a diameter. So, and if a radius cut a chord at the right angles, it bisects it. If this particular radius cut this at right angle, this is right angle, in that case we say that it, okay, so this is 90 degrees. So in that case, this particular chord bisects it. So that is the concept. Okay, so bisect it. All right, so that is the fact. Now let's go to theorem. So the theorem on double angle says that the angle subtended by an arc at the center of a circle is twice the angle is subtended at the circumference, or at the remaining point on parts on the circumference. At any point, in some textbooks you can see it as at any point on the remaining part of the circumference. All right. So in this case, we have been able to use an example here. The angle subtended by an arc at the center, this is the center, is 2 multiplied by that at any point on the remaining part of the circumference. This is an arc. This is an arc. So the remaining part of the circumference is here. So if this is 100, this will be what? 50. So that's one of the theorems that we are looking at. All right. So let's take a look at examples of such. Look at this. Find the unknown angles, given reasons for each answer. So let's see in this case. Okay, this is the angle, this is an arc, this particular arc. This arc AB, minor arc AB, subtends angle 84 at the center. And there is another angle, this same arc subtends another angle at the remaining part of the circumference. At any point, it took this particular point and subtended angle X. So based on the theorem that we have learned, it means the one at the center is twice that at the circumference. Center is what? 84. Is what? Twice. 2 multiplied by the circumference, which is X. So by knowledge of a linear equation, we divide both sides by 2. What do we have? So we have X equals 42. X equals to 42. All right. So then for this, look at it again. Sorry, this is B here, and this is A here. Okay. So in this case, arc AB subtends angle Y at the what? At the center. And it also went further and says at any point on the remaining part of the circumference. So you pick a point here and subtend another angle. You can see that this is at the center and this is at the circumference, like this. These are the center, these are the circumference. But in this case now, it's just tilting to that side. So, and that is what you can see here. So, you see the same principle. The angle at the center is twice that at the what? Circumference. So, Y is equals to twice of the one at the circumference. That's 35. So, hence, Y equals to 70. Okay, so that is the solution to that. Okay, so, and that's the 42 degree angle at the center is twice that at the circumference. and then 70 degree. Angle at the center is also what? Twice the one at the circumference. So let's move on. We also have a few questions of this nature. Let's look at it. This is angle at the center, y, x, and the circumference, y. But we have learned a fact about isosceles triangle. This is an isosceles triangle because this is radius, this is radius. So if this is 42, this is also 42. And the addition gives us 84. Don't forget that in a triangle, everything must give us what? Must give us 180 degree. So if that is the case, it means x is 96 because you add them up to give us 180 degree. And if x is 96, the one at the center is twice the one at the circumference. Center is now 86. 96 is twice, 2 times circumference, y. You divide both sides, then we have y equals what? Equals, you divide that by 2, what do we have? We have 48. So y equals 48 degree. Okay, so and then from there you also use the same principle for this. So you can use the same principle when you can use that as one of your practice questions at your leisure time. So let's move. Okay. All right. So the next, which is the last theorem we are going to look at, is talking about chord bisector theorem. A line drawn perpendicular to a chord and passing through the center of the circle bisect the chord. It's also one of the facts that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is just it. It bisects the chord. So we have done that. So this is just, okay, an example is here. Find the length OS. The question about that, ST is a chord, it's 8 centimeter, and we need to find the length OS. The distance between this and this is 3 centimeter. Distance between the center and that chord is 3 centimeter. So how do we do this? From the simple knowledge of triangles that we know, especially right angle triangle, this is 3, so we can bring out a triangle, right angle triangle. We know this as 3 centimeter. We need to find this. This is a divide bisect. This 8 will be divided into 2. So this is 4. And from Pythagorean's triplet, if you have 3, 4, this will be 5 centimeter. Or you can use your Pythagoras theorem. 3 square plus 4 square must give us this square. So the answer is 5 centimeter. Length OS is 5 centimeter. So that is the solution to that. OS is 5 centimeter. All right. Practice question. So I have these questions. This just to a question, but you have to find 2 values there. So under 1 minute, 60 seconds. Let me give you 60 seconds to look at that question. Just keep calm and see how you can apply the theorems that we have learned. You are welcome again. So I hope you got it right. Oh, wow. All right. So let's fill it together. Okay, let's go. This is angle, this is 49. That is the angle at the what? At the circumference. The angle it made at the circumference, which is this. Okay, 49. Now, it means this is center, K. This particular arc make angle what? K at the center and 49 at the circumference. Don't forget what do we say about the relationship? That is, the one at the center is twice the one at the what? At the circumference. So what is at the circumference? 49. So K equals 2 times 49. And K equals what? That's 98 degree. So K is 98 degree. So having got our K to be 98 degree, then how do we get J? All right, don't forget, when I was making definition the other time, I defined minor and major sector. So this is the minor sector. I can have a major sector here. This sector here is the major sector, the one here. And based on what we have learned before, if I call this X, it means X plus K will form 360 degree. X plus K, they are sum of angle at a point. We form 360 degrees. Wow. So our K is 98. So X will be equal to 360 minus 98. And what will that give us? If you do that subtraction very well, we should get 262. Is that right? Yeah. So that's 262 degrees. So that is the value of X. Now, in this case, this particular arc, which is a major arc, produce angle X at the center. And that same arc produce angle J at the circumference. Do you observe that? Yes. You look at it, X is being produced by this, from here to this. Yes, that is a major arc. So produce this. That same major arc produce this, J, at the circumference. So it means you also use the principle again, center. The center is what? The center is X. Is what? Twice. 2 multiplied by the circumference. And what is the circumference here? Circumference is J. Alright? So times J. So 262 equals what? 2J equals 2 multiplied by J, divide both sides by 2. So J will be equals to 262 divided by 2. That's what? 131 degree. So the value of J equals 131 degree. So we have got the value of K as 98. Summarily, the value of K is 98 and the value of J is 131. All right, hope you enjoy that. So that is the solution for that. I hope you got it. Yes, that's great. So you can try as much as possible, engage in more practice. You need to practice as many questions as possible to understand this better. So this is where we are going to stop for today.
ECO-Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Don't forget, for comments and questions, you can make use of the link on the screen. Thank you very much.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the ECO-Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch ECO-Learners Support for WAEC and and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.